Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to our final couple of math lessons. I looked at what was left in our math book in second grade, and there were more word problems on length. And while I think that's super important, I wanted to spend today's lesson and tomorrow's lesson on something that's going to help prepare you for third grade, which is multiplication. And I know that a lot of you were asking throughout the year, when will we learn about multiplication? So I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about multiplication by just some certain numbers. Now, it comes back to the arrays that we talked about last week and that ever important word of. Remember, in math, the word means multiplication, okay, or times. So we're going to start with the twos. And we're going to strategically talk about how you figure out multiplication by 2. And then we'll move on from that. So if we look at a problem like 2 times 4, we know that that is 2 sets of 4. There's my multiplication sign. There's my word of. Boys and girls, a reminder that multiplication is just repeated addition. That's all multiplication is just repeated addition. So if we look at 2 times 4, it means 2 sets of 4. Here's my 2 sets of 4. And I could say 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 and say 2, 4, 6, 8 and know that that equals 8. Now also, when you multiply, it does not matter if you use 2 times 4 or 4 times 2. As long as you have the same numbers, it doesn't matter what order it's in. 4 times 2 means 4 sets of 2. Here we go. There's 4 sets of 2. We've got 4 here. We've got 4 here. When we add them together, it equals 8. So what we could tell from this is that whenever we multiply by 2, we are doubling the other number. It's like saying 3 plus 3, which we know is 6. And again, 2 times 3 is going to have the same answer as 3 times 2, which is 6. 5 times 2. There's my 2. I am just going to look at my 5 and double it. This means 5 plus 5, which is 10. And 5 times 2 equals 10. 2 times 7. I'm going to look at my number, not the 2, but the other number, 7. In my head, I'm going to think 7 plus 7, which is 14. 4 times 2, there's my 2. I'm going to look at my other number and double it. That's what times 2 means. It means double. 4 plus 4 is 8. 2 times 6. 6 plus 6 equals 12. So 2 times 6 equals 12. I'm going to give you a challenge. What is 2 times 20? 20 plus 20. 40. Here's a big one. 100 times 2. All you're going to say in your head is 100 plus 100. And what's that answer? 200. All right, boys and girls. So there you have it, your multiplication by 2s. You just look at the other number and double it. Let's jump into multiplication by 10s because this is another one that has that shortcut trick to it. I'm going to start with 3 times 10. 3 times 10 means 3 groups of 10. So I'm going to say 10 plus 10 plus 10. So in this one, I'm going to add the 10 however many times that other number is. 10 plus 10 plus 10. So 3 times 10 would be 30. 10 times 7. That means I'm going to take 7 and count by tens 7 times. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So 10 times 7 is 70. 9 times 10. I'm going to count by tens 9 times. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So 10 times 9 is 90. Now, if you're starting to notice a pattern, that is great. When you multiply a number by 10, you really just take that number and put a 0 behind it. Take the 9, put a 0 behind it. 2 times 10, take the 2 and put a 0 behind it. 10 times 8. You can definitely count by tens 8 times, which I know is 80. But again, the shortcut, if I'm multiplying by 10, I take my number and just put a 0 behind it. 10 times 1, that's just 10, one time. So that answer is going to be 10. 5 times 10, I could say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Or I know that I can write my 5 and put a 0 behind it. And that especially comes in handy when you have bigger numbers. Here is the number 10 times 12. Okay, I can remove this marker because it's in my way. And I can write the number 12 and I can put a 0 behind it. So that is our trick for multiplying by tens, is just take the other number, write it in the answer and put a 0 behind it. Or you can count by tens that many times. So we'll have a chance to practice multiplying by twos and multiplying by tens shortly. But first, we're going to cover one more. Now, I want to remind you, my friends, that this is not in our second grade math book, but I feel that so many of you are ready for it. And if you can get excited about multiplication and practice that over the summer, you're going to be all set for third grade for sure. There's all kinds of videos and Khan Academy things that'll help you practice multiplication. And then there's always good old-fashioned flashcards too, because eventually, my friends, you want to be able to commit these to memory. Okay, just like you did with addition and subtraction facts. Okay, let's cover one more, and that is multiplication by fives. You know all that time we spent learning to count by fives? Let me refresh your memory. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and so on. Well, that is going to come in handy as you begin to do multiplication by fives. Now, I wrote it out in the long way down here so we could take a look at it and notice the pattern. 5 times 1 is one set of 5. So that answer is just 5. 5 times 2 is 2 sets of 5. 5, 10. That answer is going to be 10. 5 times 3. 3 sets of 5. 5, 10, 15. So that answer is going to be 15. 5 times 4. 4 sets of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20. 5 times 5. That's going to be 5 sets of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So 25 is that answer. Take a look at this, boys and girls, and see if you can figure out a pattern. Now, this is a pattern because I have put these in order from 5 times 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And I continued over here, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Will you say just the answers with me? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So every time we multiply 5 by one greater number, we're just counting by 5s one more time. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. What should I write over here? 30. 5 times 7, 35. 5 times 8, 40. So we got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 5 times 9, what would come next? 45, very good. And then 5 times 10. Wow, I know my 5s, but I know my 10s also. I know when I multiply by 10, I just write the other number and put a 0 at the end. And that fits with 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Now, you're not always going to have this handy dandy chart in front of you. So as you have them mixed up like this, you might want to just start counting by 5s. So 5 times 7. I'm going to write little dots instead of using my fingers. And when I get to 7, that's when I'm going to stop. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. I could see that I have 7 dots here. I counted by 5s 7 times. 4 times 5. 5, 10, 15, 20. There's my 4 dots. Here's my 20. 8 times 5. And you know, I'm not going to make a row of 8. I want to be able to visually see when I've drawn 8 dots so that I can stop counting. So I'm going to do 2 rows of 4. Help me count, friends. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And 8 times 5 is 40. 2 times 5 is 10. 6 times 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And 5 times 9. Here we go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Very good. So boys and girls, I've gone pretty fast as I've shown you the little shortcuts for multiplying by 2s, 10s, and 5s. So there is not a Think Central assignment for this in 2nd grade because it's not a 2nd grade standard. But I created a Google Doc where you'll practice filling in some answers for multiplying by 2s, 10s, and 5s. Remember, you can go back and watch this video if you need to. But remember, I got to show you my shirt. 2nd grade rocks. I know you guys can do this. So head on over to Google Docs and you're going to complete the assignment multiplying by 2s, 5s, and 10s. Great luck. I know you'll do great. Bye-bye.